money to become lawyers and become public interveners and get involved in this. And since we are being asked to make the sacrifice, people's properties, people's governments, people's tax bases, and I would even argue much more so, the energy policies that come about as a consequence of this. And that is something each of us can digest and think about. I happen to feel it's really profound. If we look at this moment, I mean to summarize here, this is a little bit of a technical chart here, but I can see it. This is the demand for electricity over a long period of time, going from 1950 to where we are today, 2010. This chart was made by the U.S. Department of Energy based on information provided by utility companies in the United States. Okay? So what it says is that we were buying toasters and washing machines at a fast rate for many, many years, and that began to slow down. And it slowed down so much with energy efficiency and the cost of electricity. We now think about leaving that light on, right? Because it's expensive. The cost of electricity, the efficiency of equipment that we have, and our good habits, we have now slowed this growth down to where our own government, using the best statistics possible, has projected that our use of electricity in the United States, and this is the national average in Wisconsin's charts I can show you are very comparable, that our electricity growth will only be 1% per year on average for the next 25 years. So when a company says we need to expand the system, this makes it pretty graphic. When we have a low voltage reliable system and we need to expand our system, right, there needs to be a good dialogue with those planners about what models of growth they have in mind. I just went through some of those with Dale at the ATC thing, and I can tell you they are not the figures that I would like to see that are consistent with this, but we can have that dialogue. So the bottom line on it here is that energy planning at this point in time, right now, Badger Coulee, Sarah said on the radio last week, this is interesting, Badger Coulee would cost 75 cents per month if you had it's called a $1 if you were spending $100 on your electric bill. So once that project is, by the way, once that project is funded to be built, not after it's constructed and the electricity is in, once after it's funded to be built, financing, big deal there. But once it's financed, we start paying for it, and that's $1 a month. Okay, not a big deal, but what she's not saying is, one, we're also spending in the state of Wisconsin $1 a month on efficiency. $1 a month on efficiency. We have 1% growth in electricity. Do you think maybe you could figure out a way to cut back 1% of your electricity use? Okay? And at the same time, we're also paying for all of the transmission lines that were built in northern Wisconsin prior to 2008 on that bill, so that the transmission cost would be closer to $10. So right now, at this state of our economics in terms of this kind of investment, we are spending $10 or 10% of our money on transmission fees for paying for the lines that we've already built, and $1 on efficiency.
And Rob, I might add that in theory, we've been told that the cost of electricity will go down because we'll have access to cheaper sources of energy. I can say with certainty that the electric bills in northern Wisconsin have gone up every year since that transmission line was proposed. So there's been no cost benefit.
Yes.
What do you do? How do you answer the question when they say it's necessary to be renewable energy for Wisconsin?
Okay, over on that table, just for a second, there's a form that you can fill out that directly relates to the environmental energy issue, environmental renewable energy. If you read the wording now, it says it will help and it will do, it's not very clear. When they first came out with their publicity, the idea was much clearer, and it said that we will deliver high quality renewable energy to Wisconsin. The town committee met and asked them what they meant by high quality and how they would measure it and how that would affect the carbon footprint. This question falls into a category that I will just kind of cover briefly and say the basic position is that any meeting with the developer so far, with ATC, which questions of this nature have been asked, We have been told that this is an informal meeting, that they are being gracious to provide for us, and that matters of need of this kind, right, of reliability, of cost, and all of those things are really not discussed in that context. And we were also told that if we wanted answers for that we should go to the Public Service Commission to ask them. Many of you were there at that hearing, if you recall that statement. We, of course, went to the Public Service Commission to ask them, and they said absolutely not. These questions are completely appropriate, and they should be answered within the public information phase. The problem comes with the way that all of this kind of got adjusted back in 1998. And we can look at the laws, but basically the problem is that and due to the complaints of Madison and the complaints in Arrowhead Weston, that public information phase was extended a lot. It's a year and a half long now. But unfortunately, what kinds of dialogue should take place within that are not defined. It's up to us to put the feet to the fire. And that's good in a way, because if you think about it, people are saying, oh, it's all backwards. But if you look at the situation in Minnesota right now, with the CapEx 2020 lines, those certification and need documents are approved at the very beginning of the project, and people don't even really know what it is. So they're in a more desperate situation than we are. We're in a situation where we can say, okay, let's talk. No, there's no certification of needs down there. We can't talk at the Republican interveners. So everybody, and that's what's fun about this, is that this is not a partisan issue at all. This is an energy planning with severe ramifications on communities all over a huge part of the state. And is there anyone here from Malston Way? I know a couple I talked to, because it's about reaching out and not playing they should put it somewhere else game. One of the problems about that, I'll touch upon now, we want to get Kurt's expertise in it, is that some communities, some town boards, and if you're in touch with your town board and working with your people, are feeling like they want to get rid of this. They go, oh, I can't believe everyone's so upset about this. We're going to get this business out. So they're saying, they're writing proclamations, if you will, that say, this should go somewhere else. Or they're basically acting on rumors that they're hearing that it's not coming to your place, hush, hush. Everyone should kind of run away and quit thinking about it. The problem with that is there will be 2 lines proposed in the application. There will be 2 lines proposed in the application. So anybody that says to you, like just a quick test, they say, well, it won't be coming here. But they just say, well, if it's not coming here, where are both of the lines going? Right? Yes.